looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wealth Building mini class. I'm Millen Livis, financial independence mentor and author of best-selling books, A Shift Toward Abundance and A Shift Toward Purpose. So the topic of today's mini class is the power and danger of leverage. During this mini class, I will share with you, first of all, we'll start with the definition of leverage, and then we'll go over examples of different kinds of leverage. And then I will share with you different aspects of leverage. Some of them are very powerful and some of them are very dangerous. And I would like to start this mini class with the sharing with you why basically I chose this topic for today's mini class. I subscribe to different investment letters, and recently I received a letter from a gentleman. I believe he's fairly young and just kind of getting into investing, who was bragging about a great opportunity that he got into. And he basically bought condos, properties in different countries through some third party. And now he owns income properties in, I believe it's in Panama City, in some town in Colombia, if I'm not mistaken, in Argentina, several different countries. In total, his investment was about $100,000, and he expects to get short of 700% on his investment. So in 7 years, he expects to get around 700,000 of value on his investment, of return on his investment. So that was the something that basically interests me in terms of sharing with you. That triggered my interest in terms of sharing with you this topic. And everything that I will share to you is purely my opinion and my experience. So I just want you to see it as such. So let's start with definition of leverage. Leverage is a tool that allows you to put in something and get out much more. So you can, it can be leverage of time, it can be leverage of effort, and it can be financial leverage. So financial leverage, sometimes called as a good debt. So let's go over, let me give you briefly the examples of each of these types of leverage. So the time leverage example would be when you use airplane instead of driving, for example, because you will spend much smaller amount of time and gain on a plane and gain advantage of many more hours if you, for example, chose to drive whatever you're going, right? So it could be very significant leverage, and it is leverage. Then another example of leverage would be leveraging effort. So when you have a team that works with you, for example, if you have your business and you delegate certain tasks to your team, you leverage your effort because you put relatively small amount of effort, assuming that it doesn't take a lot of effort for you to manage your team, and you get a significant return on your investment because the outcome of working with a team is much more than if you were working on your own. Okay, so that's another example of leverage. And finally, I want to talk about financial leverage. So financial leverage, when you invest something, when you invest your money, a certain amount of money, but your return on your investment the outcome of your investment is significantly higher. So that's why when I say financial leverage, I assume that whatever you invest will appreciate in value. That's why, for example, I don't think that investing or buying a car can be considered, if you take in a loan, for example, can be considered as a good financial leverage, as a good debt, because the asset of the car, the value of the car as an asset depreciates. Okay, so that's an example. Or for example, if you invest in yourself, in your knowledge, in your confidence, so this investment definitely grows over time, right? So that's a good investment. That's what I call good debt or leverage, financial leverage. So again, leverage has a lot of very valuable benefits. Let's go over some of them. So the first benefit that I kind of alluded before is that you put a small amount of money and your return on your investment is significantly higher. For example, the examples of power, this element of power of leverage would be when you buy income properties, right? So you put down payment, you control the property even though you don't own it, because it's a loan owner or bank, if you take the loan from the bank, that owns the property, but you control the property and you receive the income from this property, right? So that's financial leverage, and that's a power of leverage, because you put in only down payment, but you have, let's say down payment is 20%, but you have control over 100% of the property, okay? So, and not only that, you also not only enjoying the income from the property, but if you did your homework and you bought the property in the right location and it's a good property, it will appreciate over time. So you get return in the form of income and appreciated value. So that's one aspect, that you put in small amount and you have control of 100% of your investment, and you benefit by getting income and appreciated value. The way to grow your wealth is through financial leverage. There is no way about it. It's definitely leverage. Financial leverage is a very powerful tool to grow your wealth, to grow your net worth. And that's obviously very valuable, very important if you want to grow your wealth. And some people probably don't realize that investing, any form of investing, is leverage, right? Because the idea of investing, that you put, small pie, and then this pie, through investing, through successful investing, hopefully will grow in size. So that's the idea of leverage. Investing is a form of leverage. Another benefit of financial leverage is because basically you're making your money work for you, right? So you earn certain amount, you save certain amount, and then you invest this money, and this money starts working for you. So that's another very powerful aspect of financial leverage. And I'm just looking at my notes, want to make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, so another very powerful aspect of financial leverage is that you can use it to diversify your investments, to diversify your assets, and like I mentioned earlier, and control all of them, even though you don't pay full price for all of them, right? So that's, again, that's financial leverage advantage, because you can put, invest in multiple, for example, multiple properties. You don't pay full amount. You pay only certain amount, let's say 10 or 20%, and you control all these assets. You have control over the assets, even though you don't own them in terms of your finances, because it's these properties are leveraged. Okay, so that's the power of leverage. I would like to hear from you if you have any questions, if you have any insights so far when it comes to the power of leverage, because next we're going to talk about dangers of leverage. So let me know if you have any questions, any insights so far, because I want to make sure that we don't have any uncleared aspects of this topic so far. All right. Okay, good. So let's continue and let's talk about danger of leverage. I've witnessed so many people who over leveraged. So they got into financially unsustainable situation. And it happened, it happened under very seemingly certain circumstances, right? So during boom of real estate in 2000 up until 2007 in the United States, there were a lot of great opportunities, and people were seeing that their neighbors, their friends, the promoters, agents were making a lot of money, and they jumped into buying multiple properties. And they put, let's say they put down payment, they had 100,000 and they put down payment on several properties, assuming that they will have guaranteed income from all of these properties and that the value will appreciate over time. Well, it just so happened that, maybe it's their bad luck, maybe it's, basically it's a bad timing, but some of these properties, during the real estate crash, some of these properties drop in value drastically. And many of these properties were not rented out. So in other words, people were not getting the expected income, as well as were not getting expected appreciation in value. And yet they planned their finances based on assumption that they will have guaranteed income and they will have almost guaranteed appreciation and value. So from what I've learned and I've seen in this situation, so many people got really burned by this over leveraged approach, because they didn't get the expected income and they had to foreclose on several properties that they bought, and many just lost the money. They didn't recover even half of it. So that was a very powerful example of danger of leverage. So it's very important that you don't over leverage your investments. So another danger of leverage is when you put all your money into your investments. You don't have anything left because you just want to take advantage of the opportunity. And let's say you you know, we're not even talking about danger of market crash. But let's say you have all these properties that you bought, put down payment on, and even if you have one property that is not performing in terms of income, and you need to have repairs in some of these properties, so you need to do some kind of maybe capital investments, or like I said, maybe repairs. Maybe you need to pay the agent to help you to find tenants. So if you invest all the money that you have and you don't have any buffer, financial buffer, then you can be in a really stressful situation, right? Because you invested all you have, and if something happens, you don't have the financial buffer. So that's another danger. So let's continue. I have a couple more to share with you. So another danger of leverage is something that may not even be up to you. You can do everything right, and yet not account on market cycles, because all markets have cycles, right? Real estate markets have cycles, stock markets have cycles. So if you buy at the wrong time on the top of the market, and that's often happens with beginner investors, right? They see that everybody's making money, and they usually enter the market at the wrong time. If market crashes, even if you have very good properties in good locations, or you have good stocks, all of these assets will go down with the market. And yes, they can recover, but it will take time. So you've got to plan your investing horizon, so you will be able to recover. So it's not something that you expect to get back in a couple of years. So obviously that's very important when you plan your investing strategy to know your time horizon and your risk tolerance. But we're getting a little bit off the topic here. So market can be a cause of the challenging experiences for you if you leverage yourself up to wazoo, so to speak, right? And then another danger that I want to bring to your attention is that when you invest with someone who basically finds the properties for you, and you only pay for the property, and you leverage not only your money because you expect to get, let's say, income and appreciation and value, but you also leverage your effort because someone else is doing all the legwork for you. So as much as it might be convenient, it also can be very dangerous, because you may not know these people enough. You may not know the circumstances of their business operation that may not be 100% kosher, so to speak, and you rely 100% on these people. You trust them with your money, with your investments, and you don't really have control over your investments. That's what I wanted to mention, that under these circumstances, you do not have control over your assets that you invest in, because basically someone else, you're just part of this big umbrella that you invest with a group of other people, and you don't have control over the situation. I'm not saying that it will never work, but in my experience, it often doesn't work. All right. So I hope you see the everything has a front and a back, right? Leverage definitely is a very, very powerful tool to grow your wealth. But like I shared with you today, it also has its negative and dangerous aspects. So I just wanted you to be aware of them, so you will not be one of those people who feel devastated financially from some investments. So I would love to see your comments and hear about your experiences of financial leverage, and tell me how it worked for you. And also would love to hear from you what insights you got from today's mini class. What insights, what resonated with you, what insights you got from this training. So going back to the story that I started with, it sounds really great, right? That you have investments all over the world, and you don't really need to do much work because someone else is finding these investments and managing these investments for you. But I just want to tell you that it's not, from my experience, it's not always that pretty as it looks when people pitching investment opportunity for you, because you don't know the political climate in these countries. You don't know maybe economical area where the property is located. You may not be even aware that it might be challenging to rent in this area. So you have no control over this. So if you want to consider something like that, you've got to be more hands-on and see how you can have some form of control, if possible at all, in this kind of scenario. All right. So, and that brings me to the end of this mini class. And I just want to tell you that I receive a lot of messages and emails from women who really want to learn more about investing, because they thinking about retirement and they want to make sure that they do, that they know what they're doing. So I invite you to join my group, Wealth Building for Powerful Women, where I support women with any questions, and also soon I will be offering great, powerful resources that would help you to learn the basics of investing, as well as a little bit more comprehensive ways in terms of how to invest, stock market, real estate, etc. Again, I invite you to join us. It's Wealth Building for Powerful Women group. The group is free, but you need to apply, and I pre-screen all applicants. And I would love to see you with us and hear from you and know how you feel about financial leverage. Have a wonderful day. I hope you stay cool. It's very, very hot where I am in France right now. I hope you have a wonderful weather where you are. Enjoy your time and have a wonderful week. Take care. I'll see you next week. Be well.